Beloved, bringers of change. Welcome. Feeling a little pizzazzy for today's Oracle transmission in relation to the Galactic Trials, and a little bit of multi-dimensional awareness in relation to what is taking place and how you can play your part in this divine justice experience. So I would love to invite, as you tune in, to make sure that you take a couple of deep breaths, ensure that you are receiving this transmission when you are able to receive it in presence and without distraction, and to ensure your safety in case there is any spontaneous activations or Kundalini awakenings. As with all of these transmissions, this could bring up visions, memory, and altered states of consciousness, so please be discerning of your safety and others. I am Geeia Ariati. I am of sound heart and sound mind, and I am the Oracle for the 144 and beyond. Ni ekeria shotokor getetekeria na hateteate mi ishitekeria no ototoria na yakiariana. Galactic Trials. Okay, so to give you an expression around what this means, currently there is a galactic tribunal taking place. And this is a tribunal against the war against humanity. This is a court case, as you could say, with the Council of One and other councils that are identifying the trickery, the entrapment, and the distortions that have kept humanity fused in distortion. And so what that means is that there is a trial that's going in place since the very beginning of time, where there is an opportunity for the Anunnaki, or the creator beings, the divine race, the genetic modifications, the beings that have created these dynamics, not just those beings, but the continual beings that are in, we'll say, parliamentary status, or different undercover beings that are working for either the light or the dark forces, and are being offered an opportunity to reconcile. They are being offered an opportunity to own, have accountability, and to what I would say is to what is the word? Plead guilty to crimes against humanity. Now, I'm not laughing about crimes against humanity, as it is a very serious topic, and it is a topic that has brought me multiple emotional outbursts and tears through the many incarnation cycles that I have journeyed here on Earth. But what I am speaking into is that the timeline junctions that have been at play, and each fragmented, distorted, inverted, and manipulated consciousness that has been underway, is given an opportunity at the moment to go under tribunal or retribution. And so there are multiple beings that have created specific consciousnesses, such I will not speak to these consciousnesses, as I do not want to generate fear, but there are specific beings that have created specific consciousnesses and entrapments within the collective consciousness of humanity, mind loops, and specific templates or energy signatures that get stored in the physical vessel that take control over a being through infiltration, through AI, through subliminal programming, through entrapments or contracts that take place. And these beings are very, very, very clever, because this universe works by universal law. So the Earth is a free will zone. The Earth is a place where beings have sovereign free will and choice to choose. So the reason that we have a whole human race that is entrapped in a delusion and an illusion is because they have been tricked into believing that they don't have choice. And by the way that it functions is everything in this reality, by the overriding powers, is they have to share with you what is taking place. They have to share with you what they are doing. They have to share with you well in advance, and if there is no rebuttal, that will mean that you consent and that you agree. So by having silence, you actually are consenting to what is taking place. By not speaking your truth, or not by speaking up or speaking the word, the law of God, this is where law of man has taken place through thousands of years of manipulation. And so this main what we would call, say, rulers of the earth at different periods of time are actually under surveillance. And then, and how I can explain this in a multi-dimensional realm is that everything that happens when we talk about someone being under surveillance in this physical realm, we talk about cameras and different things. They're watched. They're under. They're being recorded. There's statements being taken. There is notes being regarded and files and data, and all of this information comes into play. Now, when you have a being that when you're talking about this that's this reality. Now we're talking about multidimensionality. So this is going up to the 9th dimension from the one-dimensional frame of being all the way up to the 9th dimension, and the council outside of the 9th dimension is the overruling council. Now what happens is that Mia tatakariando riasha takaria satakaria totokoyandia niataria shatakyandia niatotokoya tatakariana kiaria shatakyandia totokoria tatakariana yatia shatakaria satakaria totokoyandia ni mia tatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatatat transmission. It is because there's some distortion that's come into the field, and it's trying to cause an influence in my communication, or that there is something that needs to be cleared and purified and reconciled within the field. Maybe that is a word that I've spoken that's been slightly out of vibratory resonance, that has put out a distortion in the field, and my commitment to being that of in service to unity and God requires me to clear that from the space and to gift any activations in the process. So what is taking place is that these beings that know that Earth is a free will zone are here in a way that they know they can only have control by manipulating the universal laws. But manipulation, or if you don't abide, you can only be on Earth if you abide by universal law. So that is why humans are bound by universal law. They don't know how to transcend universal law. And so universal law is the guiding structure to how our reality works. And there are a multiple range of them. I think once I listened to I don't know them all cognitively. I know them all energetically. And I have transcended most of them, and attained my God Creator expression, because I've chosen to be in God's law, which overthrows universal law. And so when you come into God's law, you don't need to abide by these, because you are coming from a place of truth and integrity. And so those laws, like time and space, don't exist anymore. You transcend them. So these universal laws, if you want to get some more research, I believe I will try and look for something, and I'll place a link in the comments. There is, I think I listened to 56 universal laws once, and it was beautiful and profound at that time, when I didn't have the access and the information and the awareness that I had within myself. But you have to abide by these laws to be on Earth. And that means that to create the reality that we have created, everyone in the control dynamics that are creating the financial systems, the schooling, everything has to abide by those laws. So there is a awareness of that you can manipulate them, and you can use trickery so that you're using them, or you are getting someone else to do your dirty work. And so these big, powerful energies, and we're not just talking about the powerful families. The powerful families are actually not the powers. The powers beyond those powers you don't even know about. You don't even know these consciousnesses. They are extremely highly evolved consciousnesses that have been here since the very beginning. So the manipulation of these universal laws has been here since the very seeding of humanity. Now, this universal manipulation takes place by manipulating consciousness. So by manipulating consciousness, you are able to trick people into believing that they have sovereign free will. Now, so if I use, say, the demon that sits in the control room of hell, and which is a real thing, by the way, so just adjust to that, because that could be really confronting to the human mind, to know that there's a demon that sits in the control room of hell. If you've ever seen that artwork of the demon with puppets on his strings, that's real. So those strings are actually energy ties, and they connect into vessels up here on the Earth's surface, and he controls these beings. So that these metaphors are real. These things that we see that we think are illusion, or we think they're an energy signature, the science and the sci-fi and the fantasy and all these folk tales, when you open the realms to what that actually is, that is very real. And that's an extremely shocking experience to the human reality. But this is how this works. You have the main demon, or the creator of Satan consciousness being separation consciousness, is down in the underworld, or the realm of hell, which is a one-dimensional plane of experience, and he has his puppets doing his thing. So he specifically does not do the dirty work. He infiltrates people's sovereign free will in their body. And how this happens is when we forget. So when we, as a human being, so any single one of you, and probably every single one of you, has had Satan work through you at some point. Now, that's also an uncomfortable thing to sit with, is that he has the ability to move through the different genetic modifications that have been made on your body, the different AI, the different holograms that are in your physical vessel that you're completely unaware of, which is why they actually it's very hard to get your genetics done without charging a lot unless there's a clear genetic condition, and that's because they don't want you to know that you have these genetic mutations and these abnormalities in your chromosomal DNA, because that would provide information into who you might be. But these genetic conditions there's additions or duplications, and there's subtractions, and this is just one of the ways that the Satan consciousness can be worked through you. Now, to make this a little bit more interesting, is that there all these beings through history, these demigods, I nearly used one of the words. It's imperative for me to keep safety, security, and my own insurance that I don't manipulate the field and cause any disruption to what is taking place. So these specific beings, like the Anunnaki, that have all manipulated universal law. So not one of the Anunnaki members, which are the gods in your Bible, or God. Now, that in itself is a challenging concept. I know that, Nick, you're listening, and religion believes that the Bible's based on one God. Now, if you really look at that it's based on multiple gods, that multiple gods wrote it, and one of those gods being that of Enki, it completely changes everything there, which is why, and I have not read it because oh, you really? I have not read it because I am one of the I have not read the Bible because I am one of the main energies that is mentioned in the Bible. I love how Spirit likes to expose me. So in relation to the actual word, I know that I'm a speaker of the word. I'm here to be a speaker of the Emerald Tablet. I'm here to actually be an enforcer of divine justice. And so what this is, this very long-winded expression of what's going on, because we are talking about something that is in so many different dimensions, has so many layers and so many different facets to it, and will expand your mind into many, many ways. But with this, there is the awareness that none of these gods that created Earth are free of infringement. Every single one of them has infringed against humanity and has been a creator of entrapping this reality. And these original fragmentations that took place have been going through a process of needing to be witnessed to go through tribunal by either owning, right? So this is from your lens as a human being, that you own up to your lack of consciousness, that you take accountability for your behavior, that you choose to take responsibility for when you are acting in love, in kindness, or when you forget, and when you are doing something that is not of love. That is a part of being a conscious human being. That is a part of working on yourself. Is I apologize, I was in pain, and I reacted in this way. So that's the human expression of how we be a more compassionate, loving, open-hearted being, is that we stop projecting, we stop blaming, we stop fighting, and we start to take self-responsibility and accountability for our life experience. Now, this is what's taking place on the multidimensional as to why this galactic trial is taking place, because each of these Anunnaki consciousnesses, which are very big now, because you've had you've had years upon years upon years of people devoting and putting energy into these beings. So they've made them powerful. They were already powerful, but now they are much more powerful, and they are interweaved and merged and manipulated into every single human being. So there is not one human being that is free of any of these energy signatures, because they are the creators and the seeders of the human race. So it's also in the genetic cells of the body. So when you see that bariata takariana shutakoria tatakariani titikeri shutatataria tututokoria tatakariane keariana muosori aniania ototoana. When you see that the original seeders and these consciousnesses that have now grown, they are not only is the Satan consciousness started, if you want to do some ancient history, Satan consciousness is actually Marduk. Now Marduk in Anunnaki, there is some story. He is known as the king of the world when all of the other Anunnaki left the earth, and he became the ruler. Now that is because separation consciousness became the ruler, and the other creator beings decided that it was not something that they decided that they wanted to continue to play out, and would return to earth when there was more chance of bringing back the Emerald Order. So the beings that stayed during the ruling of this separation consciousness. This separation consciousness is connected to an actual being. So that means that anyone who holds this consciousness and is at the effect of it and at the effect of its driver. Now, it can only have so much control over you if you don't witness it. Now this is where the galactic trial comes in, and how you can support this galactic trial, how you can start to be a what do you call that, like a witness, a part of the I want to say what is the word? Tribunal. And how you can be a part of this is, one, you start to, in your human 3D life, if that's how you're functioning in the world, start taking accountability just for your mistakes. Start taking accountability and ownership for where you have blamed. Start taking accountability for where you've avoided, or where you've pushed away, and where there has been some form of, if I was really being truthful and honest with myself and sitting with the discomfort of the shame that this has created, that I would see that my actions out of hurt or fragmentation, I did this, and I don't desire to do this. I do want to see where I have sinned. Now, the 7 deadly sins are the sins that keep us in separation, and they are the continual loops and patterns of Satan consciousness. And so where you can start to help in your 3-dimensional being is just recognizing, what of the 7 deadly sins are you still looping into, really, 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 to a point that what happens is, when every being goes into separation, they add more evil into the world. How does that work? Because when you go into separation, Marduk or Satan consciousness has a chance to work through you, because you are not a conscious being that is being sovereign in your free will as a child of God. And so that is the start, is how do I be more conscious and aware of where am I playing into the 7 deadly sins, and how can I take accountability, ownership, and plead, I won't say guilty, but plead to the things that I need to be aware of and choose change. if you are a quantum healer, if you are an individual being that has a capacity or ability with if you are someone that is directly connected to me, if you are someone that has memory of being a demigod, a god, if you feel that you have been a part of any of these ancient civilizations and that you're aware of your multidimensionality, you may have some things that are coming up for you to take ownership and accountability for. And so what happens is when you take accountability and you allow for yourself to go into whatever part of this galactic point of consciousness, you can see that you are able to acknowledge your past perceived mistakes, because when you're in separation, it's just coming into forgiveness and recognition. It's reclaiming the part of you that you actually gave up and becoming more whole. So there may be a need for you to go back to clear your karmic footprint. Now, as you're doing this, you're repairing the timeline. As you're doing this, you're actually bringing more light to what is witnessed and what has been. So as the law of one, they see and witness all things. Yet, as with quantum physics, that unless something is witnessed, it does not exist. Okay, so if we look at a multi-dimensional galactic trial, the only way of witnessing these wars against humanity and these crimes against this experience is to witness where the trickery has taken place, where the manipulation has taken place, and where the infiltration or the distortions are taking place, and offer an opportunity to say, if you were involved, I take accountability and I reverse and I undo and I clear and I revoke all of those contracts that have bound me to this situation. And then you have the opportunity then, because you've witnessed, and it's not just you that are in these experiences, you witness other beings. Whether or not you know who those beings are, your vision, being a part of the one mind that goes into an experience and a remembrance, allows for these parts of the puzzle to come together. So beings that are still choosing control, and these descended consciousnesses that do not desire us to evolve into the fifth dimensional plane of experience, is that by remembering, you are actually being a witness to what has been against and a distortion that has been created. Without remembrance, it doesn't exist. So it doesn't matter what is written. It doesn't matter what folk tales or mysteries are presented, that without the witness of consciousness, it doesn't exist. This is how we can transform our body. This is how we transform our core beliefs, and our physical healing is instantaneous, because we go back, or we witness, whether it's back, future, all time at once. You witness the consciousness that created that, and the story that was created, and how it came to be. So in that experience, I created this distortion was created, and I was able to reclaim this information in wholeness. Now, those that are not really doing this work, and they're continuing to manipulate the and there is many beings that will appear to be like myself, that are manipulating you through their word, through their light codes, and through the energy frequency of what is written. It's called spell casting, and they will spell cast over you, and you won't even recognize that you have just received a heaviness over your consciousness, that you've started feeling a sense of anxiety in your chest. And it is because that's a part of the trickery. The trickery goes well beyond the human lens. So for these galactic trials and for these main violators to be reprimanded in divine justice is that we need to witness where this has taken place. We need to become aware, and we need to see it as individuals, because you're in that courtroom. And if you allow for that to be seen, if you allow for yourself to open and expand your consciousness, to witness the cloud seeding, to witness what is taking place just in your physical reality, that you are opening to showing where this is taking place, so that there is enough information that action can be taken. So we talk a lot about why is nothing happening to these people. Well, because there's not enough proof. There's not enough proof as in relation to conscious awareness of what that was. It has to be seen. So when we talk about, say, the satanic rituals or the different things that have taken place, the pedophilia rings, the human trafficking, those aspects of information cannot be recorded if they are not seen, and there's nothing that can be taken place, because the council abides by God's law and universal law. There is more. What is there? The Council of One specifically would like to ensure that the one-dimensional plane of experiential consciousness is eradicated from the Earth's surface. So that would mean satanic consciousness. So that is your level of pedophilia, human trafficking, serial killers, war, mass genocide, etc., etc., etc. And that starts with looking at how you can assist in that is looking at your story around Satan, your story around this consciousness, and where you are either bound by it, or where you have disassociated from it, or where you are in denial about it, and that is your root chakra. It is an extremely challenging chakra to work through, and only the more awakened, I will use, are in that point of actually going into that point of consciousness, because it's extremely debilitating on the human vessel when you start to go into that, because you're going into memory of your own experience where this consciousness has been at play. And so you don't need to go into your root chakra memory. You don't need to evolve yourself to that point to be of service. But how you can be of service is sit down with a journal and ask. This is truly how you can be of service to the level of immense change, is by sitting down with a journal and saying, what are my beliefs, attachments, and narratives and stories around Satan? And see what comes up. And allow, you might purge, you might feel sick, you might actually remember things, and it might be hard, but what happens is, instead of it being in the subconscious of your memory, where you become a tool for this very this very energy to continue and to take control over humanity is you start to bring it from the subconscious to the conscious, so you have awareness of it. You don't even need to do anything with it other than witness it and see it. And it might be uncomfortable, and so if you do something like that, what you're doing is it's no longer in the shadow, and that shadow is bringing it to light, which gives more proof of this experience. And we have more opportunity to release this one-dimensional consciousness, which gives us more opportunity into coming into a fifth dimensional expression for humanity and to bring back more sovereignty. Why do I want to talk about pyramids? I'm not sure why I keep seeing pyramids, other than I had a sister reach out to me earlier today to ask around the use of pyramids for satanic energies. What is the importance of the pyramids? So there are a lot of hidden pyramids. On the Sunshine Coast, there is quite a lot of pyramids. They're called mountains. They're not mountains. If you go and sit on one of them and you have an ability to remote view, you can remote view down into them. They are portals. Every single mountain that looks like a pyramid, if you really tune in and feel, you'll sense that it is a portal, and a portal can be open to the above or to the below. They are meant to run in both directions, and they are meant to be synergized, harmonized, and in balance. However, because of the amount of entrapment that has taken place on this planet, most of those portals are they're guarded. So you can only use and access these portals with an exchange, and you give something up so that you can use these time-space portals of experience, or they are used for inversion consciousness. A lot of these mountains have underground bases in them, and these underground bases hold refugees, children, and they are used as a way of a feeding ground. And so with these we see the surface point. They are time travel machines. They are free energy, but they have been taken over, which is why a lot of these sacred sites and these pyramids and these hieroglyphs have been destroyed, because they hold the information of the synergized and harmonized coding and the information. However, because there are beings that have this coding, all beings have this coding of this within their cells, it doesn't matter if they are physically destroyed, because the information exists in all dimensions and all realities. And so to understand a code, to reconcile it and to bring it into balance, you have to reach a certain level of consciousness. You can't access, you can't jump steps, and you can't access information without it. So this inversion into these different underground bases, they are coming to a point of realization that as the Earth's molecular structure shifts and changes, and as this tipping point in consciousness occurs, if you want to find out more information on the tipping point, I have done multiple channels and will continue to do them. Please follow me on YouTube, and you can look through the information on the Oracle forecasts. That these bases are they have to move, and they're not safe. the feeding ground is no longer a way of being able to maintain the reptilian and the draconian consciousness on the earth. And so this physical human feeding or human sacrificial, physical, tangible reality that exists is starting to need to cease to exist, but it's still maintaining its metaphysical recognition, because the mining of gold, if you have this reality runs on mining of gold, not just gold in the physical form of gold, but gold is a representation in different dimensions as life force. So energy, gold energy, life force is the frequency of gold, that there is an ability to maintain material by feeding off humanity's chi or life force energy. And so whether or not it's done in the satanic versions down there, or whether or not there is feeding that is taking place through each individual being, that these pyramid structures are starting to collapse. And so the awareness and what is being asked of me to bring forth is that because there is less physical feeding that is taking place to continue this life form on the planet, this one-dimensional consciousness that is going through a process of eradication, it then goes into a metaphysical feeding. So what happens is that what you see, or that you may have not wanted to see in relation to what I just shared in satanic physical reality, is that happens in the multidimensional. And so to bring awareness that these underground bases can no longer maintain structure, and that the earth is moving, and that there's collapsing of tunnels, and that the more rain in certain areas, the denser the more movable the soil is, the more easy the platelets can be realigned and readjusted, is that the feed to stay alive means that consciousness that I was speaking to earlier, that can only be fed off you when you're in fear or when your heart closes, is going to increase, because the feeding can't happen on a physical level. So there has to be an energetic feeding that takes place. And so if you have a high vibrational child, if you are a high vibrational being, this is where your protection, this is where you're staying in presence, this is where your alignment is very necessary, because you will be at the subject to the Satan consciousness and the feeding. And so a way to release their permission and consent is to go through and cancel any contracts, any agreements, any oaths, vows, promises, any trickery, any distortion that has taken place to you through any time-space dimension where you have been involved in, yes, you can have my life force, and in exchange for protection, safety, whatever it was. And that allows for you to reclaim your chi. Or you can simply say, I reclaim my sovereignty and my chi and my life force energy. I reclaim my sovereignty, my chi and my life force energy. I reclaim my sovereignty, my chi and my life force energy. I reclaim my sovereignty, my chi and my life force energy. And I do not give consent to any being feeding off of me or anyone under my care. And you make these statements. These are called declarations. A declaration in which we see in a court or tribunal is a declaration of truth. I declare in the name of God, this is the truth, and I will abide by this truth. And so a declaration is the most powerful attainment of reclaiming your own energy and making a statement in alignment with God Source Creator. And once you make a declaration, and you can write it up and then you speak it out loud as though you were in a court of law, to express that to God and to the collective consciousness, so you can reclaim who you be and what you desire for the world. And with that, 43 minutes, I believe, of probably some interesting dynamics. I am grateful for any support in these transmissions. It is my directive to get as many of these channels out to as much of an audience and as large as a capacity as possible, to allow not only the word of truth to come through, to bring to the surface the lies and the distortions of this reality, to reclaim sovereignty, to own my part in this experience, and to be of service of the law of one, the Emerald Order, and to be a speaker of truth. It is my devotion to sovereignty and unity to ensure I continue to show up. And if you feel aligned with my message, if you feel a soul's full body fuck yes, even in the discomfort of everything I speak to, please share, please tag, and please allow for these messages to be heard, as this information is being suppressed. It is being repressed. It is very challenging for me to get my channels out to bigger audiences based on the amount of suppression of truth. And I am desiring as much support. So if there is any way that you can support this, if you know of any larger audiences or media or anything that would feel aligned to receiving this, please bring or pass them on. If there's a podcast that I can jump on and channel some of this information, have some discussions, I would be absolutely grateful to share this message. And if you would like to support my mission and the energy and the discipline and the dedication that is taken in this human experience, I do also desire to ask if it feels true for you, only if it feels true for you, to be of support in making a donation. I have a donation link in my linked tree that will continue to allow for me to put more and more energy into this mission and into this work, as I am also a human in this current reality. I love you, I love you, I love you. Ahava. God bless.